Welcome back, or welcome for the first time, depending on when you find us, to the podcast Writing with Witches, where you get to hang out with a couple of witches and we talk about writing books. And in this case specifically, we're going to be talking about characters, how they speak. So, monologue versus dialogue, how they also would talk some internal monologue too. But before we get on to that, my name is Leona Urbanski. I am a debut author with my first book, Fire Magic, out, book one of the Deathgate trilogy. We're filming ahead, so technically it only comes out in like 3 days. Um, but
Yeah.
when you're seeing this, it's already out. Go find it, see what you think, let me know what you think, leave a review. Um, my co-host is
I am Nicole Autumn. I am the author of the completed Secret Society series. Yeah.
so
So book
yes,
news.
go find her books and leave a review too.
Oh, yeah. That'd be nice. I would appreciate that. Now available in Barnes and Noble, Amazon. No, just kidding. Have like a
I
straight up
mean,
ad.
we did technically re-release everything, so you can
Yeah.
find it at more places than just Amazon now.
Yeah. Pretty much.
If you don't want to give your money to Amazon, you can now go give it to someone else.
Yeah. Even though technically we would make more through Amazon, but Amazon stinks. So yeah, Barnes and Noble. Go there.
Yes, go there.
So book news. I you've said it. I have re-released all of my books at this point. For the most part, I think there might be the novellas hung up on a cover issue. Yeah. I won't go into that because I'll just get angry with the amount of times
Yeah,
we've had to
yeah, you
redo
will.
covers.
How many times? Oh my god, I hope this is the last
We hope we have learned the workarounds
time.
and everything with now having a publishing house and publishing things through different platforms. We hope we figured it out. we've hit the learning curve, hopefully. But now that those are out and I'm not editing and not trying to get them uploaded to new platforms, I can actually get back to writing again on my first drafts, which I'm really looking forward to because I've had a lot of inspiration. The muses have been speaking and scenes have been popping up in my head, so I'm really hoping to get back to writing and reading for this lady over here.
Yes, that is a requirement.
It is a requirement. So any book news for you?
I finished the rewrite of Fate Touched, and so I'm kind of letting that simmer for a few days before I go back and start reading through it again. I'm trying to get myself to write more on one of my first drafts. Um, and it's just I need to seriously sit down and think through the plot, and I have been so busy. My normal sit down time for this is like right before bedtime, and I've just been going to sleep.
I have been too tired. Yeah.
So I'm hoping I'll be able to not be quite so exhausted this week so I can walk through the scenario in my head and get this first draft back on the road. Literally.
Yeah.
They're traveling right now in the story. So
Which I will say, she has decided that the female main character, not female, the main male character.
I was gonna say that would have been really odd.
That would have been really awkward. The main male character is looking more like Leon Kennedy. So if you've been on any social media platform right now and have been seeing Leon Kennedy and the Requiem from Resident Evil, now you got a sneak peek on what this man looks like.
There you go. All of my Resident Evil fangirls, new and old, for Leon Kennedy. That
Yeah.
is the visual inspiration at this point for this guy in this book.
Which she's getting a lot of visual
Getting a lot of thirst
inspiration.
traps. between you and my friend in Arizona, and then me sending it back to both of you, we've got a cycle going.
Oh yeah. They're just it's just bouncing back and forth. I mean, you
I am
can't go
literally
wrong.
drowning.
I mean, but do you want to be saved? That's the real
No,
question.
not really. Only if it's by him. He has to save me.
Yeah. Oh man.
Anyway,
Should we jump into this week's episode?
that was probably a good idea.
Probably. Um so, like you said, we are discussing monologue versus dialogue, which we're going to start with monologues. And monologue is essentially your internal thought process, or your characters, not yours. Well, technically yours because you're writing it. Um, the internal thought process of your characters and what they're thinking and doing and stuff like that, and how it's working in your head. So anytime that's not in quotations and they're not describing an action, any type of thought process would be considered monologue.
Internal monologue. Technically,
Yeah, internal
spoken
monologue.
monologue is a
Yeah,
thing too. So
internal. I should, yeah, clarify that.
it's all in your head. You said it in your head. I know you did.
It's all in your head. Yes. um so you will see this, you will see it in third person, but I feel like it's more common in first person, to have the internal thoughts constantly going. And with that, you'll also see a lot of stream of consciousness. So how your character takes from one topic and keeps going from one thought process to the next, to the next, to the next, and so on.
You for those of you with ADHD scroll brain, it's figuring out you have to, if you're trying to write a neurotypical character, it's making sure you have actual what other people would consider logical transitions for those thought processes, not the random ass resonance that we get from
Yeah.
odd things.
Yeah, you can't jump from thinking about Gatorade to a bee in the next sentence without someone getting lost.
Yeah.
Type of situation.
My brain is now trying to make that logical jump here, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
Oh, I mean, it's easy. Summers, when you're out and you're thinking of like, oh man, it's hot, I'm thirsty, you have a Gatorade, and then you see a bee and you're like, oh, bees, I remember when a bee tried to get in my Gatorade once, and your brain just off and away it goes, and then you start thinking about bees and you're like, honey sounds good. I wonder how honey's made. Like the thoughts just keep going, and you could go from Gatorade to trains and you're like, what the fuck? So yeah, there's a way to get there, I'm sure.
No, mine was Gatorade is sweet, and then I was also thinking honey is sweet, so then I was thinking that bees make honey. So I went a different path.
But not too far off. So, but if you are writing a neurotypical character, that thought process wouldn't have gone that way. They would have gotten pretty lost.
Yep. So keep that in mind. And if you're not writing a neurotypical character, that's fine. Write out your own logical train of thought that you consider logical, in how it goes through. But be aware that you do need to write down how those thoughts connect. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, your readers are going to be lost.
Unless they understand it. Because they're also neurotypical.
Right. Well, I think every neurospicy person has their own unique ways of jumping from topic to topic, though.
That's true.
So,
yeah, that makes sense.
Like, we just had two different subjects and we both took different paths.
That's true. Not too far off, though. Pretty close.
That's fair. Still different.
Yeah. Did you want to cover the third person? Because I don't understand the third person process of internal monologue.
Nicole cannot write in third person. That's just a fact of life, unfortunately. No. So third person, you're more I'm gonna say it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
omniscient in third person. But that also means you're peeking into everybody's head. And I know there were frequent instances in fire magic. The one that stands out to me the most is when Brenna was leaving the canyon behind with Carrie and she was looking behind her and you saw the thought process in her head of her not wanting to leave
Mm-hmm.
and her talking about it in her head with the ghost of her old mentor. So you were in her head. You were not in anyone else's head. You were in her head, seeing her thought process. And even the next chapter after that, Carrie's interlude, it's all about him thinking about Brenna,
Yeah.
which sounds wrong. They don't have that relationship. That's more of a sibling relationship. Anyway, um,
Yeah. Like she's his older sister type relationship.
right. But he was also still just getting to know her at that point. So
Yeah.
it may not it may not be using first person pronouns like I, but you are in the character's head. And you are getting that stream of consciousness and those how train of thoughts are connecting and that kind of thing. In third person, it's just you're using third person pronouns and you can do it with more than one character at this in the same chapter without having to switch like give an official change of viewpoint heading
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Which was
So,
what I was thinking as you were saying that. Because then it makes it a little easier so you can get multiple point of views within the same chapter in the same scene, which is
mm-hmm.
also really nice when something crazy happens or whatever, where in first person, you are limited to that specific person for that chapter's point of view, unless you change it, like you said, with a different scene change to go to a different point of view. Most
Yeah,
likely a
if you
new
put in a
chapter.
scene break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and in third person, I very rarely use the lines for a scene break. I can only
Mm-hmm.
think of one time that I did that, and that was because it was going between two different locations within the same chapter.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time I used a scene break line in that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I it flowed for the most part. Like I didn't have to use the scene breaks very often.
Yeah. And if they're not doing internal, they're doing spoken monologues. So they're pretty much just word vomiting at that point. um,
Paragraphs upon paragraphs of lots of exposition.
yes. And who is famous for that? Villains. They want to give their whole plan, their backstories, and why they're doing what they're doing. It's a character, it's iconic throughout media, movies, books. There's always the villain's monologue where at the end they come face to face with the protagonist or the hero and they just won't shut up and tell them everything.
Now, to be fair, there's a reason why it still persists. For as
Oh
much
yeah.
as we make fun of it and poke poke at it, it's there for a reason, and that is to give the reader some kind of completion. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you have not had a point of view with the villain before this point, like if you've only followed the hero and you didn't know what was going on in the villain's lair or what their plan was, this is them connecting all the dots for you. This is them making all the clues that you've been picking up make sense, all of the behaviors that have been happening. So there's a reason that's there for all that we like to poke fun at it, and it's
Yeah.
to give the reader a sense of completion. So if you're writing purely from the protagonist's point of view, you're never with the antagonist or the villain. Um, and you finally come face to face, you need some kind of conversation. I mean, you could just have the hero go and kill the villain. That's totally fine. But your readers are going to be left going, wait, what? What? Well, why was he doing it? Because we
Yeah.
always want to know the why.
We're always
We're
nosy.
always asking why.
Yeah. The why is the big thing. We're nosy. We want to know.
Yes.
I mean, even in my books, in Unbound and Unveiled, I don't think there is one in Unleashed. But in those two, there are villain monologues where they explain why they're doing what they're doing. And one is a little more gruesome than the other. But yeah, it gives your readers the background of why they're doing all the fucked up shit that they're doing. And sometimes it'll even shed light on your protagonists, as maybe they're not as squeaky clean as you initially thought. Maybe they have done some shady shit that has done something to the antagonist that has led them to this point to begin with. So it not only explains the why, but it can also reveal some backstory, if there is backstory between the two characters. Like in the Secret Society series, there was background. There was not background, history between the characters. So we got to understand, well, oh, so he's coming after you not for this reason, but this reason. So it also sheds light on more than just the why.
And you don't always have to do a conventional villain's monologue. The one I'm thinking of, if you've seen the third Taken movie with Liam Neeson, you do get a villain's monologue while Liam Neeson's character is torturing the villain.
Oh.
So you're getting that confession from the villain as Liam Neeson is torturing him. So that is technically a villain's monologue, because this is Liam Neeson's character finding out why the guy was doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always have to be at the very end. It doesn't always have to be given voluntarily. It can be given in a variety of ways, and you may not instantly see it as a villain's monologue. Because I doubt, until you think about it, a lot of people have thought about the fact that torture scene in the third Taken movie was a monologue from the villain, but it was.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, eventually it's the why, right? Why he's doing what he's doing. Yep. So, yeah, you could get creative with your villain monologues and when they give it and how they give it. And some, most often or not, like we said, it is often given in like speeches where they give this big speech and grand on why they're doing what they're doing. But like you said, it could be very different. I mean, giving up the secrets when you're getting tortured, that stinks for a villain's monologue. But it worked.
It did. Have you seen the third Taken movie?
If I have, it's been a very long time.
Okay. I love the Taken movies.
Yeah.
So it stuck in my head, and it just kind of came to me while we were talking about that. Yeah, the torture scene was a monologue from the villain. And like I said, it doesn't have to be at the end of it, because then after the middle of the movie, that was like the middle of the movie, Liam Neeson's character then goes on to wrap up and fix whatever the villain had done.
Yeah.
So it wasn't it wasn't at the climax of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to always have it at the end. You don't always have to have it in a villain's monologue. Doesn't always have to be spoken either.
Yeah.
Maybe you switch to the antagonist's point of view at the very end, and you see why they're doing what they're doing. Or maybe there's some kind of written note that they left for the protagonist to find. So a villain's monologue is considered a monologue even if it's not actually spoken.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, you can do all kinds of things with it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, the most common one that comes to mind is the spoken. But I'm sitting here trying to think of other examples of that. And I don't know why, but I keep coming back. It's always Game of Thrones. Because there's so many villains in there that they eventually spill why they do what they do. And, yeah. Sometimes you never know until you get like you said, those little messages or hints or whatever left behind. So yeah, that makes
And to
sense.
be fair, in the book Game of Thrones, the book version, he jumped point of views quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it was actually up in the air on who was actually a villain until you started getting deeper into the books because everyone had their reasons and they were perfectly logical reasons for doing what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Really what drove made them become a villain or not is how selfish those reasons were.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And it always depends on who's the fighting one, who they're fighting against, on who's the villain and the point of
yeah.
view, which we talked about before.
And maybe your villain's monologue, like you said, suddenly reveals they're not really the villain. They've been trying to correct all of the wrongs the protagonist has been doing throughout the book.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And that's an interesting take because then you were rooting for the bad guy the whole time and you didn't even realize it. You're like, shit.
There's a couple of books that have done that. You have to pull it off. You have to do it well to really be able to pull that off. Unfortunately, I
Mm-hmm.
can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but there's a few. Okay. Oh, geez, what's the author's name? Um, Hang on, I gotta look it up. It's called The Black Company,
Mm-hmm.
and you find out that the company, uh, it's Glenn Cook, the mercenary company that it's following is actually working for the evil goddess. You find out.
Dun, dun, dun.
Or if we're going to continue just going into other kinds of stories, I'm playing through Baldur's Gate right now for the first time, so no spoilers. Um, and you're finding out that Shadowheart does not exactly follow a goddess of light and goodness.
Mm-mm.
So you may have been romancing this character and then you find out that who she actually is worshiping and you're like, wait a sec. So that is another example of you didn't realize until you got further down the path who exactly this person was and what they were doing.
Yeah. I want to say more,
So
but I don't want to spill the beans.
nope, don't spill the beans. I'll hurt you later if you do.
I won't say anything, but ooh, the urge is there because I have played through completely. So, anytime well, I can't remember if it was you or Alex when they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm in a romance Shadowheart." I'm like, "Really? Are you sure?"
Yeah. And I've gotten enough hints just from stuff coming across my feed on social media that I've got a pretty good idea of who Shadowheart actually worships and why you probably don't, unless you're going down a dark urge path, why you probably don't want a romancer.
Yeah. I mean, well, you know at this point that she does worship Shar.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
wants to
I
become a
I'm
dark justiciar. And
yeah, I got that one. We're
yeah.
in the Shadowlands right now, so I've also found out she's protected from the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And I just heard about Gail just told me about the difference between the shadows and the weave. So I have a better idea of now where Shar is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's
Where
just
did
another example of storytelling that you
yeah.
can take from um we kind of deviated from the villain's monologue, but
Yeah.
you followed that train of thought, right?
I did. I completely got it because I mean, like you said, she does end up being a villainous-esque character, you find out. So, but that was along the lines we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure she had a monologue at some point.
Oh, 100% she does.
Okay, there.
Yes,
See, we came back on
100
track.
100% she does. I can guarantee you that. Depending on what you do, you will get that monologue.
There we go.
um Also, sorry, the dog just like bolted down the stairs. Um, so that would bring us to our witchy tip, which is the spoken word's power. So when you are doing spell work or any type any during the day anything, your words have power. And this is why a lot of people will say don't say bad things about yourself, don't put negative things out into the universe and speak it, because eventually it could come back to you. And when you are doing spell work, that is like, I'm sorry, I'm getting so distracted by a dog. We just got a dog, and he is now running back and. Oops, sorry. Sorry for your ears. I just knocked the microphone. But he's now running back and forth because he's getting excited to go on a walk. Um, when you're doing spell work, yes, you can do everything internally, and it could still work. But saying it out loud so that the spirit you're working with can hear you and putting it out into the universe only strengthens the power of those words.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I thought you were gonna keep talking, so I thought it was safe to take a drink. I'm sorry.
That's all I had really to say on that one.
Yes. So, kind of diving into the scientific side of this a little bit. It has actually been scientifically proven that speaking creates vibrations in the air. That's how we hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vibrations are energy. So, depending on what kind of intent you're putting into your spoken word, determines the type of vibration you're putting out into the world.
Yeah.
What kind of energy you're putting out into the world. I do actually remember a study where they had people speak into like a pool of water so that, you get the ripples from the water. And depending on whether it was a negative or a positive statement, the water reacted differently. It could have been the same words,
Yeah.
but how they spoke it, the water reacted differently. There was different waves, different ripples.
That's crazy.
It
That's
was
so
really
cool.
cool, fascinating to read about. So, if you want to go into the science side of that a little bit, it's actually been proven that words, energy are different depending on the intent that you put behind it.
That's sick. Science is so cool.
So, right? Witchcraft is just science that hasn't been explained yet, after all.
Same thought I had. You said it.
So yeah, it's
Uh,
that's something to think about when you are speaking, period. And so when you're doing spellcraft, spell work, that's something for you to think about. What kind of intent do you have when you're speaking these words?
yeah. That's. I still can't get over the water ripples. That's so cool. um. So yeah, that was our short and sweet witchy tip. And now we're gonna switch from monologue and jump into dialogue, which is always so fun. Um. So dialogue is when your character is speaking out loud to, I mean, they could be speaking to themselves, or most of the likely to other characters in scenes, and they're communicating with each other like we're doing right now. um, and there are some rules with dialogue. When someone speaks, you need to start a new paragraph. Their train of thought can continue if there are breaks within that character speaking and going in the same paragraph. But once another person speaks, it's a new paragraph. So you shouldn't have like your character speaking, another character speaking within the same sentence. It should be a new paragraph.
It should be a carriage return. Yeah.
Sure. I've never heard that phrase before, but yeah.
You never had to use a typewriter either.
No, I have. I just never heard that phrase before.
That was what it's called in a typewriter, is a carriage return.
Well, I was also
Enter is a
really young
carriage
when
return.
I was young when I used it, so I knew how to use it and I had used it before. I
The
didn't know the
enter key
terminology. Yeah.
used to be called the return key until people stopped. They started wondering why it was called the return key, and then they started calling it the enter key.
That makes sense. I think I remember seeing it say return on there. But that was a very long time ago. I haven't seen a typewriter
I'm old, all
in
right?
I haven't seen a typewriter in like 20 plus years. So
I think I still have one upstairs.
nice. Just type out your manuscripts on that.
No.
No,
No.
thank you.
I remember when there was no copy paste, okay? There
We
was
did
no
have this
cut.
conversation.
There was no copy paste. I remember that time. I thoroughly enjoy being able to just type into even not even copy paste, just being able to put your cursor where you want to insert a word without having to rewrite the whole flipping page.
Yeah, that would suck.
I will stick with my word processors. Thank you.
Um, let me see. I need to go back to our thing. When focus goes from one character to another. New paragraph. Okay. My brain was like, what's happening? Um Also, when you're writing and you go from one character to the next, when you're focusing, whether that's dialogue, action tags, um, just focusing on a new character, even describing their movements or their facial expressions, it should be on a different paragraph. So you know that this is distinctly this person's thoughts, speaking, their movements, then the next paragraph is also a separate person's situation, business going on.
Different business.
It's different business, you know? Different person, different business. That's one way to put it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the rules are pretty cut and dry. If you don't follow them, it's not that the grammar police are going to come after you. It's that people are going to be confused on who's speaking because that is how we have trained ourselves to read. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you have Nicole said, "I have a new dog." Nancy replied, "Oh, what color is it?" If you don't have that enter to start the new paragraph at the beginning of Nancy, then people are going to be confused on who's speaking.
Yeah. Did you
I
know
know.
you just.
I know. I know.
uh, my dog's black, just so you know. um,
Nancy's your
yeah.
cousin.
Nancy's my cousin. Yeah. Um, oh my god, brain fart. Uh, it's been a long day. I've celebrated my daughter's 5th birthday today, so we'll leave it at that. And a new dog yesterday. It's been a whirlwind of a weekend. Um, so yes, all of that. Now, when you get to the actual dialogue of them speaking, you want to start thinking about how people speak naturally. And a lot of the times, we're very lazy speakers. We use contractions. We don't use a lot of proper, like, what would be considered the proper way to speak. So, keeping that in mind, you're going to want to use that in your writing, because if not, it's going to come off very unnatural. And if you do end up getting it into an audiobook format, it's going to sound off. Even though it may not be wrong, it could be completely correct the way it's written. But that's not always how people speak, which I had this issue. I apparently suck at contractions when I should be using them.
And I
So,
do too. So
yeah. So keep that in mind when you are writing the dialogue itself. Contractions are used. People are lazy speakers in general, some more than others. But yes.
and some people may not pronounce the whole word. Like properly pronouncing everything. You're going to have people that say everything.
Yeah.
And when you are trying to interpret that into the written word, you're going to be dropping letters because you lost both G's. You lost the Y and the G in that word with the way
Yep.
I just said it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's not even on a strong accent.
It's not.
People will do it on a daily basis and they don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, just for an example, even me, I don't say mountain, I say mountain. So I lose
Mm-hmm.
the T, and that's just how I've naturally just grown up saying it. So, yeah, you also have to consider if you're giving your characters accents, that is something you can put in instead of just saying, oh, yeah, they had. For example, one of my characters, Leo, he has a very lazy southern drawl. So G's don't exist in his vocabulary at the end of words with ing. So instead of anything, it's anything, or there's no G. It's just gone. And yes, let me tell you, it is a pain in the ass to go back and find all those G's and get rid of them.
The computer programs do not like it.
They hate me. So when you're trying to portray an accent, you have to really think about how they sound if you're wanting to portray that through spoken dialogue. So if you decide to give your character an accent that I would hate to see Creole in written because, oh my gosh,
Go read Gambit.
I love hearing it, but I think it would be a nightmare to read with all of the different sounds that naturally come from them through their accent. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm reading.
I've written a version of it. I did not. I wrote a X-Men fan fiction with Rogue and Gambit is speaks Creole.
Yeah.
And I put as a disclaimer at the top of it, I will use some accents, but I don't speak this way, so I'm not going to try and go for the full accent at all.
Yeah.
But some of the comics, they do attempt to actually write his accent out.
Yeah.
And it is. And another thing to think about with accents, it's not just like what letters they drop or what structure they use. It's also like what metaphors they use, what sayings they use. Bless your heart. I mean,
Yep. Yeah.
Canadians, at the end of
Yep.
every sentence. So keep that in mind too if you're trying to write an accent. I do not write accents because I am lazy and I don't want to do it. So,
Yeah.
but if you're going to, remember, it's more than just dropping letters off of words. It's more than contractions. It's where they're coming from, what their speech pattern is, what metaphors are common for them to use, what sayings do they default back to.
Yep.
If you were ever trying to write me speaking, every other paragraph you're going to hear me say that's fair. That is a default line for me.
It is.
Like if I was an NPC in a video game, that's fair would be a line.
Almost, yeah. And you know the funny thing is I have picked it up since being friends with you for 4 years at this point, and now even I'm like, that's fair. I see your point, and I've never before used that phrase. So yeah, when you think of that and you're putting your characters from a specific region, you will, if you're wanting to portray it as best as you can, you're gonna have to look up common phrases. Like you said, Canadians are like A after every sentence. Midwesterners, ope is a big one all the time. There's certain phrases, and sometimes you may not know them unless you know someone like that. You've been to the region and you catch it. So, but if you can catch those things, it just gives your character more validity in that they're from that area. And the people that are from that area, if they read it, they're gonna be like, oh dang, they caught this, and this is really what they are. Because I mean, I've seen people complain about, like, oh yeah, so many people write about people in small mountain towns, but they never get phrases right, or the feel, or the way they speak. So if you're going to do that and you want to portray your character with accents and certain vernacular and metaphors and all that stuff, you should probably do your research.
Do your research.
And look it up, because you'd be surprised. You don't hear people talking about putting lipstick on a pig up in certain areas, but it's common down in the South, where, you're basically saying that lady's freaking butt ugly, like putting lipstick on a pig. You know what I mean? So if someone heard that and they've never heard that phrase before, they're like, who's putting lipstick on pigs? That's weird. But in reality, it's a metaphor for someone being butt ugly. I don't know why that was the only metaphor that came to mind, but it did.
It did. It's fair. Um, Kind of diving into the accents and the regional thing a little bit. One thing that a lot of people also relate to is food. Like if
Mm-hmm.
somebody is um craving a food, what's a comfort food for that region?
Mm-hmm.
What's a comfort food for where they're from? So that's something that can also help your characters feel more genuine
Mm-hmm.
in wherever you're trying to write them from. Not so I know we're going a little bit off topic, but just that's something to think about because food is often spoken about.
Yeah.
Like what meals are being prepared, what and how people are reacting to different foods or different meals, or maybe someone prepares something this way and someone prepares it a different way. So just something to think about as you're writing, because dialogue really and truly can cover anything and everything. People can talk about anything.
Literally, and everything. Like,
So
literally.
that food is definitely an important part if you're trying to portray a character's region and what they're used to and what food are they going, what is their default food that they're going to go to, that kind of thing. So just something to think about when you're writing characters.
Yeah. Also, when you're doing your dialogue, think of sentence structures. Some people, are ramblers. So maybe that character, there's not a whole lot of periods, and they may just ramble. It may look wrong, but if that is the character that you're trying to portray, maybe they're really nervous or they word vomit. I had a friend in when I lived in North Carolina. Sweet girl, love her to death. Holy moly, her mouth ran at a mile a minute. And she also was neurospicy, and she would jump from one subject to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And you could have a conversation about 10 different topics in 2 minutes. And she would even be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I know I'm talking so fast and I'm going blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay. And I love her to death and I can understand. And she felt really self conscious about it. So I never said anything because, like, that's just her, you know? So their sentence structure would be different from someone who's standoffish and doesn't say a lot. Maybe they're just one word responses or a couple words. So your sentence structure will also give more about your character than just the dialogue itself, because then you're showing how they speak with your sentence structure.
No, I mean that kind of covers it with sentence structure. Again, that's just, and then you may have the very opposite. Maybe a character is a one per they just drop one word at a time.
Yeah.
They're very succinct. They don't speak unless they have to, and they say as few words as possible. So you can go to both extremes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sentence structure can tell a lot about a character and how they think or speak. I mean, if you got that character that's like, yeah, okay. You're like, oh, he really doesn't want to be here, or she doesn't really want to be here. They don't seem like that nice of a person. You don't know if that's the case or not, but you always get those morally gray characters who kind of are sarcastic and an asshole, and then, they're one word answers, and you're like, this is frustrating. Say something else, please. Just give me something else, something more.
Yeah.
So yeah, sentence structure can tell a lot. Was there anything else you could think of for dialogue?
No, I think unless we really want to dive back to character creation, I think we should stop here.
Yeah, which I'm never opposed to character creation. That's the fun part.
We could definitely do another whole episode on character creation and not cover any of the previous topics.
That is very true. Very, very true. So then I guess that would bring us to book reviews. I will say, I tried to read a novella, but I hated the characters in it, so I didn't finish it. Both of the main characters were mean to their parents, and I was like, I don't like this. So I
That
gave
was a
up.
DNF.
That was a fast DNF. I think I got 15% in of a novella. So that says something. That's like 4
Yeah.
pages. So yeah.
Okay.
I know you have one.
I mean, I have a pile. So
Yep. You're like, let me take my pick.
so I'm going to review a book that if you follow tabletop RPGs, you're probably going to have heard of it. It is Tusk Love by, I'm going to say her name wrong, Thea, Thea, Thea or
Mm-hmm.
Thea, Guanzon. Guanzon. Guanzon?
Okay.
Guanzon. I don't know. She
It's there.
also wrote the Hurricane series,
Mm-hmm.
which I've heard about. I have not read. But Tusk Love is a running joke in the Critical Role second campaign where one of the characters, Jester, just reads smut all the time. And Matt Mercer, the dungeon master, said you found a book called Tusk Love. And you hear her reading periodically the book throughout the entire campaign. So they went and had a best-selling New York Times best-selling author go and write it for them.
That's sick. I didn't know that was the actual story behind it. That's so cool.
That's the backstory.
Nice.
Like even the names Oscar and Guinevere are from the campaign.
That's so cool.
And like the basic storyline was laid out in the campaign.
That's
So
awesome.
it's pretty cute because it's a little spicy. I'm not going to say more than 3 peppers,
Okay.
if that. I also have been deep in the depths of some hardcore graphic smut over the past couple of weeks. So I may be a little prejudiced. It may be a little spicier than that, but not to me.
You might be a little biased. I don't know. You were just reading utter filth lately, so
Yes, I have.
I'll take the blame though. It's my fault.
I would call it 2 to 3 peppers out of 5.
Okay.
It's very much more 80s, 90s romance bodice ripper metaphors.
Mm-hmm.
Although you do occasionally get the straight up words instead of metaphors periodically. So
Get some roosters in there.
yeah, get some roosters in there. Um, but it is cute and it is fun and it's just a typical this half orc named Oscar finds Guinevere, whose wagon train was attacked by bandits, and he saves her from the bandits, and then he has to escort her to her destination in order to keep her safe. And it's just pure fun and pure cuteness. And I highly recommend it if you're into that kind of thing. If you just want something fast and fun, I finished this in a night.
Damn.
It's only Hang on. Give me a second. Only 270 pages.
Oh, okay.
But I did finish it in a night.
Yeah.
Because it did. It caught me. It actually did catch me and made me want to keep reading. And I really also want to pick up her other books now to add to my ever growing TBR pile.
Yes.
They may already be there. I don't know.
They might be.
But yeah, it's just really cute. I really enjoyed it. If you want something light and fun with a little bit of spice in there, where it does not fade to black, you get to stay with them the whole way. Um, it has a happy ending. Then I
Yay.
highly recommend Tusk Love by Thea Guanzon, or however you say her name. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I didn't realize all the. Sorry. So
Lore.
sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize all the lore behind it. Like, I knew it had to do with Critical Role in their campaign, but I didn't know in what way. So that's actually really cool that they were able to basically make something up and then it comes to fruition after the fact. That's so cool.
Yeah. Like that would have been so fun to write something like that for them.
Oh, yeah,
So,
for sure. I wonder
yeah.
how much input they had
A
in.
lot.
Did they?
Because she actually in the acknowledgments,
Mm hmm.
um my unending gratitude to the cast. She lists everyone on the cast and the crew for trusting me with Oscar and Guinevere's story. So I think she actually did
Work with them
talk
quite a
to the
bit.
Critical Role crew um to make sure that she was telling the story right.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I'm guessing anyway. I can't imagine, just knowing what I know about the Critical Role franchise and their founding members. I can't imagine them not wanting to be involved and
Yeah.
working with her on the story. So I'm sure at least Laura Bailey, who's the one that was really the driving impetus behind this, and Matt Mercer, who was the dungeon master who kind of gave the initial storyline. I'm sure she talked to at least those two, if not the whole cast.
Yeah. That's so cool. Like seeing those kind of collaborations where it's like, I mean, it's not super far off because Critical Role and role playing RPGs like tabletop. I mean, it's all like telling stories, right? But seeing like authors and that come together, that's really neat.
Yeah, we were telling a story earlier where someone decided to take a nap instead of help somebody.
He straight up was like, then he said after he was like, if you guys didn't have, if you hadn't had finished your battle, I was gonna get up and go outside and get some fresh air. I was like, you turd. Just leave us to these disembodied hands just attacking us. So rude.
Just a little bit.
And Alex goes, oh, so you're just gonna go out for a casual smoke break while we're in here dying. Awesome. Oh man. Well, that would bring us to the end of this episode. You can find us at writingwithwitches.com and you can email us at writingwithwitches@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky, and TikTok, as well as having a Discord server as Writing with Witches. You can find me at all the aforementioned places. Plus, I have my own website that is authornicoleautumn.com. I should have posted a newsletter, but forgot because we were very busy this last month. But you can, like I said, you can find me at all the aforementioned places. So don't forget to sign up for our newsletters. We will get to them soon. So on to you, Leona.
You're mainly going to find me on Instagram and Facebook as Leona Urbanski Author. You can also find me at my website, leonaurbanskiauthor.com, or you can sign up for my newsletter at my Substack, leonaurbanskiauthor.substack.com. You can also find the publishing house. Find both of us there at mythweaverbooks.com. You also will find Mythweaver Books on Instagram and
TikTok.
TikTok. Are our main platforms for Mythweavers. You can buy our books, including all of the re-release of the Secret Society series and Fire Magic. You can also buy merch. I am getting the samples of merch soon, and I am so excited to see them. I
I know.
cannot wait. Um, so yeah, go check out the publishing house.
Yeah. So next episode, we will be interviewing and asking questions of Leona about fire magic. So be sure to come back next week to listen to that. So thank you all for watching and or listening, and we hope you come back next week. Bye.
Bye bye.